Welcome to today's training. My name is Dr. Kasia Kynes. I'm a doctor of clinical nutrition and CEO and founder of EBV Global Institute. Today is a very, very exciting topic, ordering your own labs for EBV and beyond. It can be game-changing. It can be life-changing if you need it. I'm going to talk about the concerning patterns that I've seen in my experience in terms of people that struggle getting the right labs. I'm going to show you exactly what to do about that. You can get a lab independently and get the result, the right panel in your hand within about 48 hours from you listening to this. So let's get started. The common pattern that I see, unfortunately, is that you can spend years actually knocking from door to door, talking to medical doctors, trying to get diagnosed, suspecting that you have chronic EBV and being misdiagnosed. And the big issue starts with the lab testing. Exactly. It's a pretty hot mess, I have to say, unfortunately. So what happens is, first of all, the traditional EBV panels that labs offer have 3 markers, but you need 4. And early antigen is an antibody that is not traditionally added to the panel. So even if you do find a doctor who is willing and open to test for you, they're going to order a traditional panel if they don't know better. And then they're going to analyze the report based on 3 markers, which is not enough to diagnose or misdiagnose your EBV status. You can't diagnose based on 3 markers. But sometimes, actually, the problem is even deeper because only mononucleosis, the acute form of EBV, is recognized. So if you don't have the acute version of the presentation, your doctor may not even be willing to test because they will say, go rest. It's probably mono, go rest. Nothing to do. The chronic EBV, chronic active EBV, is mostly not recognized yet in medical practice, even though medical literature is very clear. I don't know why, just doctors don't read medical literature. Their training is old. And, the biggest problem also is interpretation of the lab, because even if you're lucky and you get the doctor to get the right lab, 4 markers, the IgM and IgG understanding that physicians have is counterintuitive in terms of EBV. It doesn't work. So this is another reason why people fall through the cracks and go misdiagnosed for years and years on end. So I'm going to show you how to get the lab and how to get it quickly, independently. And also, I'm going to suggest where you can do all the free training so you can learn yourself how to interpret your labs. And that can really save you years, thousands of dollars, frustration, humiliation, energy spent in the wrong direction, spinning, going through the rabbit hole. So let's get right to it. There are independent labs, consumer direct labs rather, that provide medical labs to consumers like you and me. So people don't know that. You don't have to have an appointment with the doctor. You don't have to have a referral. We actually, because I've been so frustrated with the situation, people complain to me all the time. It's a big issue if you're trying to figure out if you have EBV or not. So today I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm not going to give you fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish so you can go get your lab, and then, you can come back to our website and learn how to interpret your labs. We have all the free training, video training on our ebvhelp.com website. So we partnered with one of those direct-to-consumer labs. It's a wonderful lab. They have fantastic customer service. So I'm going to show you how to do it. You order online. You walk into a local lab. You draw blood. And then they will get your report to you electronically within like 48 hours. Done deal. You will have to probably pay out of pocket, but you know what? That one payment will save you so much time, energy, grief, money down the drain, just going to a rabbit hole. So let's do that. So on our website, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you. I'm really excited to share this because I like to provide solution. It's a great solution to the problem. So for those of you, I am only able to do this in Zoom, but you go to ebvhelp.com. This is our database website. As you scroll, you're going to see four boxes. One of them is test properly for EBV, and it says test for EBV now. If you click on it, I also want you to know that our partnership also provides you with a savings coupon of 15%. All you have to type in is capital D, lowercase r, capital K, lowercase I-N-E-S. That's my Kynes, Dr. Kynes, 15, basically. Dr. Kynes 115 is the coupon. So also know that the Alta Lab provides us with a small commission, but whatever we get from them for any person that takes this lab gets rolled right into the Institute so we can continue providing free resources, free advocacy for you and everybody that's suffering from EBV. So the only reason we're using this lab is because I was really beyond frustrated with the current situation with the labs not being available and not proper panels. So here we go. You click on Dr. Kynes' Epstein-Barr comprehensive panel, and you can see exactly what I was telling you. 3 biomarkers are bundled together. And then the early antigen is on top of that. So just like I told you, the traditional panel has 3, and you have to add that specifically. And then if you want to go, like you literally do that, get your report. And then after that, if you want to interpret it, you go back to my website, navigation bar at the bottom, labs and diagnosis. That's where you click. And then you scroll down. You have a lot of information here you can read and different scenarios. But also, if you're visual like me, you might really enjoy the video training I provided. Here I am with a whiteboard and color markers. It's really easy to remember and understand those 4 antibodies once you look at the whiteboard. This is free. This is about 50 minutes. So you want to sign up and watch that. Or you can read these. And also, of course, in my book, I have an entire chapter on all kinds of interpretations. So you have that. The most important thing for you is that you don't waste energy, that you can get the labs immediately, get the results immediately, and then black and white. On our website, we also have, if you're like thinking about doing the labs, but you're not sure if you want to spend the money, if you have it, we do have a quiz I created that is very comprehensive. If you take this quiz, then you will kind of have a better sense whether you should test or not. So this is literally a lifesaver if you need the lab done properly. You can avoid a problem that people have sometimes for years. I've had somebody waste 7 years because of the doctor's decision, and they just went into a medical rabbit hole and never really addressed the EBV properly. And but please understand that unless a medical doctor is really trained in EBV, they will most likely misinterpret your lab as well. I also would like to take this opportunity and teach you a little bit about other relevant labs that you may need if you have chronic EBV. So we put a couple of panels together for our community, and I want to walk you briefly through it. There is a thyroid panel, and the reason why I put that is, again, out of frustration because just like EBV testing, thyroid testing is incomplete in most medical practices. So this one actually has the addition of thyroid peroxidase and thyroglobulin antibodies. These antibodies are crucial because your TSH may be still okay, your T3, T4 may still be okay. Majority, according to medical literature, 95% of hypothyroid cases, so low thyroid function, are actually misdiagnosed Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune thyroid condition, which can manifest as low thyroid function. But if you don't add these antibodies, you will not know. And majority of doctors do not test them. I would recommend, if you have any thyroid history, you always ask for those and you track those. So the range typically is 0 to 34, but you want 0, 1, or 2. If the number starts creeping and goes into double digits like 10, 12, 13, if you do this periodically, you're going to see the pattern. So if the antibodies are starting to grow, there's already modulation by the immune system, so you can catch it early. And one of the biggest factors in ABV, in Hashimoto's thyroiditis, one of the biggest causative factors is actually EBV infection. So sometimes when we just focus on EBV, we can reverse Hashimoto's. We have a population in our student population with that situation. So this is very critical. It's typically not done in medical practice. And if you have all the other markers, you can just order the antibodies themselves and save some money. Iron also, especially for women with chronic EBV, anemia. Sometimes the fatigue is not just EBV fatigue, it's also related to a low level of iron. And the most important thing about iron is that you need to add ferritin. You need like entire panel, not just iron, because iron itself is what, it's a reflection of iron from your diet before you took the test. But ferritin is a long-term storage level of iron, and it is much more important in terms of any pathology, chronic fatigue, low level of energy, and complicated medical issues. And this needs to be part of your iron panel if you ever do that. And so I would add ferritin because I find that quite a number of people in our community have low ferritin. Now, the regular range is too low for normal. I would say you need at least the level of 70 of ferritin to be able to build hair. So when that drops like 60, 50, 40, you're really deficient. That's not enough. You may experience hair loss. That may explain it. So just be aware that the really functional level of ferritin should be 70 or above. All right, so with that, let me show you some other panels we created, also out of frustration that it's not being done properly. That's the only reason we did that. There is a small subpopulation in people with chronic EBV of individuals that actually have pernicious anemia and don't know it. It is chronically missed in medical practice. And these are individuals who are malnourished, are underweight, cannot maintain weight. They may sustain on 2, 3 foods. They're reactive to everything else. It's like the worst case of celiac, really, really malnourished and not thriving. And pernicious anemia is an autoimmune disorder. And we have some cases of people with chronic EBV that have that situation. And this is an autoimmunity where your immune system attacks cells that produce hydrochloric acid. If you don't produce hydrochloric acid, it's pretty much life threatening. So there's certain things that you can do. Intrinsic factor in parietal cells. These are the two antibodies that you want to test to make sure that that's not the case. Methylmalonic acid is an early status. It's a status of early B12 deficiency that can still not show in serum B12 levels if you tested. And gastrin, that is a hormone in stomach that will start being elevated if you chronically don't produce stomach acid. So this is kind of a dangerous red zone, because if gastrin is elevated, that is an increased risk of stomach cancer. We also know that EBV can contribute to stomach cancer, and it could be also related to pernicious anemia. So these are kind of hard cases when people are really struggling. You may want to consider that and read up more about it and educate yourself. For those of you that like to do all the blood testing and know where you are and just do it all, we box things together. Okay, comprehensive EBV. No, that's not the one. Let me show you. There's one more. Yes, we call it EBV Hero. So we have pretty much traditional panels plus plus liver-related issues, bilirubin, C-reactive protein, the typical CBC blood test, typical CMP blood test. There's your ferritin, GGT, that's toxicity of the liver. There's your gastrin. Homocysteine is very important. It's inflammatory. A specific high sensitivity C-reactive protein, intrinsic factor, iron, methylmalonic acid, parietal cell antibody. So this is for, we added, the pernicious anemia, vitamin D, and then you have the entire panel for thyroid, including the antibodies. So that's like a big thing if you really want everything. You don't have access to the doctors. No, you can't do any labs otherwise. We have that option. And remember, DR Kinds 15, where we share back, we give back to you, so it's more affordable. So the bottom line is, remember, if you're looking for a lab and you are banging against the wall, you can independently test, walk into a lab, and get it done, and come back to our website to interpret, to learn how to understand your labs. You can do that. You can then teach your doctor, because if they don't have that training, they really use old information that is not exactly factual correct if you compare it to medical literature. So my entire chapter in the book is all based on medical literature. And then, of course, because of my experience with EBV, I have a lot of patterns that I've observed over the years. So this information is really factual, solid, and will solve that problem. I hope this will help you. And I'm excited to know that because of this training, some of you will actually be able to get the service, get it done, and know where you stand with EBV. Thanks so much for attending, and see you on the next training.